Welcome, my friends of the interwebs. Well, I just got done watching a video from Salty Shellback, the Colonel Salty, and it just flooded back memories for me. I mean, memories from many, many years ago. I don't really know how many, but I will know very shortly. I know that makes no sense, but you shall see. So anyway, the Colonel was showing different things that he collected, and he says he's not a collector, but he collects stuff. Maybe not on the same scale as other people, but he's definitely a collector. So, anyway, he showed us a Beavis and Butt-head comic book. And it just, it just amazed me. Here, let me give you some backstory. One of my best friends in the whole world is Kinji-san 1967. Some of you know him as Krista Blade's father. Oh, in fact, I might as well clear this up while we're at this. Krista Blade is my niece, however, not by blood. Literally, I grew up with her father. I do not even remember not knowing her father. And we've been, best of friends since we were wee little boys. So when Ed's first child, which was Phoenix, showed up, I was automatically Uncle Rich. And then, of course, when Sueko showed up, or Krista showed up, then I was automatically Uncle Rich to her as well. And so for her entire life, all 19 years of it, she has known me as Uncle Rich, or Uncle Richard. Sometimes she just calls me Richard, but usually it's Uncle Rich. If she's mad at me, she just calls me Richard. So, it is what it is. But anyway, that's that story. So she's not my blood niece, but I'm probably closer to her than I am to my blood. I have two blood nieces, and I don't really talk to them very much, and I rarely ever see them. So anyway, Krista's dad, Eddie. And we'll just call him Eddie, or Kinji-san, whatever you want to call him. He and I grew up together, and, it's bizarre because we were such good friends, but yet we were very different from one another in a lot of ways. Of course, most people are very different than I am. But Eddie, when we grew up, he liked things that I was just not into. For example, comic books. He was a comic book freak. Loved them. Every kind of comic book you can imagine, he loved. And he, for the most part, has been a comic book collector his entire life. I've always been of the mindset that is a complete waste of time, energy, money, blah, blah, blah. We all have our things. I collect guns. My argument in defense of that is they're useful, they're tools, and I like them. So, some people would call them worthless. The truth is, with guns too, you can always get your money out of them, or very close, and you can sell them in a pinch quickly. Comic books, not so much. In fact, most likely you will lose your ass. So anyway, I've always been kind of a, how can I put this, practical person in a lot of ways. To me, comic books, I understood why some comic books were always valuable. For example, the oldest ones that, your Supermans and all that stuff that were original, I guess, golden period or silver period, I don't know. They were worth money because there wasn't many of them left. The kids back then didn't collect them. They rolled them up, put them in their back pockets, and if any of them made it through that time period, they were lucky. Today, kids will buy 5 of the same kind and immediately stick 4 out of the 5 into a plastic wrapper, so it looks like the day that it was minted. And, and value when you're talking about collectibles has a lot to do with scarcity. So anyway, my common sense always told me not to get involved in that because I couldn't afford the ones that would be truly collectible. And to me, the idea of collecting something that they crank out by the gazillions and convince young people to collect is just stupid. So Eddie and I would always kind of butt heads about that because I'd be like, you're an idiot. And I call a spade a spade. You're an idiot. Collecting all this shit. I mean, he literally has... I don't even know. You'll have to ask him, but it's a lot of comic books. A lot. In fact, it got to the point where his marriage actually was in jeopardy at one point. In fact, I remember his wife threatening to pile his comic books in the front yard and set them ablaze. She was pretty much sick of him going every payday and spending $100 on comic books. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I fought the whole comic book thing. I've never been really big into reading comic books. I like to read. In fact, most of you have seen my books. I do like to read. I just like to read things with substance. So, but, to each his own. Some people really enjoy comic books, and I don't begrudge them that. To me, reading's reading. So, anyway, I don't know how this happened. I don't know if I fell and hit my head. I have no clue what happened. But at one point, Eddie tried to convince me that a good investment would be the Beavis and Butt-head comic books. Everybody loved Beavis and Butt-head. It was one of those things where, I don't know. I really don't. And I finally gave in to him. I'm like, all right, when Beavis and Butt-head was first going to come out, the comic books was first going to come out, he convinced me to go to the comic book store with him and buy some as an investment. And that's the one and only time I've ever taken investment advice from Kinji-san. Ever. So anyway, this is what I ended up with. And Salty, you'll get a kick out of this. Okay? Because Salty's got the same books. Yeah, that's right. It's a pile of gold, baby. This is the best investment that I've ever made. Beavis and Butt-head. I don't know, how many do I got of each one? Well, see, there's two different ones. I don't remember which. I guess this was the first one. Yeah, first issues are cool. Unless they're making a gazillion of them, and then they're not so cool. And I guess this would be the second edition. So I got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the second edition Beavis and Butt-head. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that must have been the number for me. 7 and 7. So I have 14 editions of Beavis and Butt-head, first and second mags. Let me see what I pay for these. $195 US. Okay, $195 US. $245 Canadian money. Okay. Oh, by the way, okay, so this was March 1st of, what says 09? No, that can't be right. 01109? Okay. Anyway, so that was it. That was my big investment of comic books. By the way, there's a $1.95 back then. I think it's pretty much worth nothing now. Let me know in the comment section what you think they're worth. I don't know. All I know is every time I bring them up to Kinji-san, he changes the subject. Quickly, I might add. So I don't know, but I don't think they're worth anything. They made a gazillion of them. Unfortunately, by that point, I think people were catching on to the fact that comic book collecting was a scam. It literally is. Listen, it's a supply and demand thing. I mean, the reason things will cost more is if there's a big demand and there's a little supply. Well, when you crank these things off by a bazillion at a time, there's no scarcity. There's always plenty of supply, and then of course nobody has the demand for it because they realize that the market's flooded. So that is the way Marvel Comics did people back then. Now, I don't know if that they still do, nor do I don't really give a rat's ass, to be honest with you, because I'm not stupid. I'm not going to get sucked into that crap. Kinji-san, though, oh my God, he has all these little figures and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's like a man-child. Anyway, God love him. I've known him all my life, and he's an outstanding guy. He really is. I'm going to leave a link to his channel if you guys want to subscribe to him. He doesn't really put out very many videos. In fact, you're more likely to see him on a Crystal Blade video than you will on his own channel. I don't know why that is. He says he doesn't have time, and I know he does have a lot going on in his life. It's a very tough time for that family right now, but for God's sake, he could make a 5-minute video every now and again, in my opinion. So anyway, listen, yeah, like I said, let me know in the comment section what you think. If you have any comic books, let me know. And Salty Shellback, you are an amazing guy. I love watching your videos. I don't always comment. I don't really comment on even on my own stuff or even Krista's stuff. I don't really do much commenting anymore, but I do watch. I try to watch at least. I don't watch everything, but I do try to watch. So I'll put a link to Salty Shellback underneath there too. He's a Kentucky Colonel extraordinaire, hell of a guy. If you've watched me for any length of time, you've heard me talk about him a million times. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Peace!